JP with Central Idaho Mountain Weather. It's July 18th, 2025. Evening update on the Bear Creek and Rush fires. Got some new maps and a lot went down today. But taking a look at yesterday, this is looking at the Taylor Wilderness Research Station. That was on the Rush Fire out Big Creek. So this is a University of Idaho research station. You can see there's a helicopter in the background with a bucket. It got pretty dang close to the ranch, so they were defending the ranch with that helicopter and bucket that they were probably scooping from Big Creek there and dousing that. And the good news is they were pretty successful with securing that eastern line. And we'll kind of get through the rest of this. But if you're still enjoying these broadcasts, we ask you to do a one-time donation, or even better, sign up for that sustaining monthly membership. Okay, so if you remember, this is the hand line that was put in. Taylor Ranch Research Center's over here. I'm actually going to flip this around. So that picture was taken right over here, probably by the bridge, looking over at this hillside with the helicopter dropping buckets here. So they were utilizing that hand line and securing this section over here. They might actually do some firing operations tonight. I'm guessing somewhere in this vicinity to keep the fire from coming down here because it had tremendous growth today. This is looking at the satellite from a couple hours ago. You can see both the Rush fire here and the Big Bear fire there. They have not been that big on the satellite in the last few days. Check out this growth. This is the latest flyover they did this afternoon. The Rush fire grew about 2,600 acres, so pretty big. It hopped the river last night, and progressed up here. And it was pretty windy up there, so it did not help with this. It's spreading in a lot of sagebrush. I'm going to flip this around again for you. All right, so the fire jumps right around here. You can see how steep this terrain is, and it's mostly sagebrush and grass, it looks like. So it burned really fast through this type of terrain. Those fires typically don't have a lot of fuel, but they spread certainly pretty fast. And then there's definitely a lot more green vegetation ahead of it. So looking ahead, I can see this running towards the Middle Fork for sure. It's already kind of heading, it's heading north now, but when the winds shift tomorrow, that could make a turn over that way. So Taylor Ranch for now is holding ground. The firefighters are still on scene. I bet they're still working with pumps and sprinklers, keeping that atmosphere nice and cool. Hopefully, maybe not having that spread into the ranch area. Looking at satellite imagery, you can see where it's burning hot over in the north there. They have that new fire map overlaid here, and it's still fairly warm on the west side too. So this is where the ranch is right here. You can see that airport. So they'll probably, I would assume they're going to do some firing operations tonight. I was kind of surprised they didn't do it last night. Just might have not been the right weather to safely commence those. All right, moving over to the Big Bear fire. This also had a big run today. We had 2,400 acres, so it's like both of the fires are the biggest day for the fires so far. This is burning pretty much to the west and to the northwest down the Salmon River. Looking at where it is camp-wise, so it's burned almost down to Sunny Bar campsite. It also looks like it may have burned over the Arctic Point Lookout. And if you remember, they wrapped this thing up in tinfoil. The lodge here. This is the cabin where the watch person sleeps. So they wrapped that in foil to protect it. This is kind of the forest around it. You can see a lot of green, lots of fuel here. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had dropped a heli crew in there and kind of dropped a lot of these trees. to create more of a fire break in there. They could have just let it burned over too. Not quite sure what their tactic would be on that. Going back to the Arctic Creek Lodge, so the fire burned through that yesterday. Firefighters were on scene. Nothing burned up. They were able to save the lodge, and they're continuing today. They were continuing to mop it up and just make sure they got all the hot spots out from around there. So looks like that's in good shape. They still had protection on the river no return lodge over here, the Blackie Foster mining cabin. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Looking ahead at weather for tomorrow's fire weather, we are going to have some pretty significant gusts up to 30 tomorrow afternoon. Those are going to be coming more from the southwest. So we've been having a lot of westerly winds. This is going to change how the fire is going to progress. So I've been pretty surprised, honestly, with westerly winds that it's still moving towards the wind. You know, I thought it would be moving the opposite way. But when you have that wind funneling through all these micro terrain features, it really takes its own path through there. So either way, if we have a little change in the wind direction, it should also change where the fire is going to be. I'm not going to try to forecast where I think that's going to be because my internal forecast has already been wrong. The last thing I'm going to show you is the HRRR forecast. We have a cold front coming through tomorrow. It's a dry cold front, so doesn't really look like it's going to produce much rain. It does look like right here there's a little band of rain that might come over the fires, but that's going to be not enough to put these things out, not even close. And those winds are going to be doing more damage than the little moisture falling out of the sky. So we'll keep an eye on these fires on the main and potentially working its way into the Middle Fork.